In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the ways in which I believe social media is actually crushing our spirit. And it's interesting because we've never before in human history been as connected as we are right now. We can connect with anyone around the world absolutely instantly. And there are some amazing benefits to this. We can meet people we otherwise wouldn't have met. We can share things about our everyday life when we go on holidays and keep our family and friends in touch with what we're doing if we don't live in the vicinity of them. We can learn about other cultures. We can learn about other topics and explore subjects that we probably wouldn't have learnt in school. Like if you, for example, you are into esoteric topics, or even things like, exploring multi-dimensional realms and extraterrestrials and quantum physics. If these, kind of cool, crazy topics make you tick, there's never been more accessibility in human history for this type of information. But I really get the sense from people and in my own life that social media is actually leaving them feeling more hollow than actually leaving them feel more fulfilled. And I think it's because the connection we're getting with each other isn't necessarily the connection that we're really craving. And the sort of connection that I believe people are after, whether they're actually conscious of it or not, is a much deeper connection, more of a soul connection that goes beyond our physical construct. The sort of connection that you see in that Avatar movie when the native Na'vi people, I think they're called, greet each other by saying, "I see you." And what they're saying is that I see your soul, I see the essence of who you are beyond the temporary experience of your name and your body and who you are in this physical world. And I believe that's a connection that we're all craving. And so we have this opportunity to connect with people all around the world, but it's a very superficial connection. It's a very surface level connection. And I think that's because what's developed on social media, especially things like Facebook and Instagram, is a culture of attention seeking, a culture of narcissism. And for those who aren't sure what narcissism is, it's basically a love for yourself, especially a love for your physical looks and your physical body, and a love of getting attention for those sort of things. And so the things people are posting, the things people are doing, it's all about attention seeking. And people will go to all sorts of extreme means to do that, whether it be sexually exploiting their bodies or just posting every single thing that they do, sort of like in a way of showing that my life is better than yours. What I'm doing right now is better than what you're doing. And what that does is it doesn't make us feel connected. It makes us feel like shit, because we begin comparing ourselves. And the thing with social media is it's just a snapshot. It's a highlight of our life, and it's often very, very contrived, because we're often taking snapshots of peak experiences, but kind of like dolled up, contrived peak experiences where we can dress ourselves in a certain way, we can put makeup on, we can add all these sorts of filters, we can wear a personality mask, we can seem super excited and happy and life's just a fucking blast. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that before you take that out of context if people are genuinely happy, but often it's contrived, often it's not actually revealing our authentic self. And that's the only way that we can connect on deeper levels, connect on more of a soul level, is to actually reveal our authentic self to the world. But there certainly isn't this culture on social media where people feel comfortable doing that. It's more a culture of superficiality and a culture of comparing lives. So essentially what we're doing is, instead of seeking to help each other grow, to help each other develop and help lift each other up, we're kind of trying to bring each other down as we compete for attention and compete for likes and compete for validation. And that's why I believe, rather than allowing our spirit to open up and expand, social media is actually causing our spirit to feel more crushed under this weight of feeling like we have to live up to all these expectations. And social media is conditioning us to feel like we have to live extraordinary lives, like we have to be extraordinary, where The reality is there's nothing wrong with being just the way we are, and if what we are is just ordinary doesn't have to have negative associations. Ordinary can just be who you are, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So why has this narcissistic, attention-seeking, comparison-based culture on social media developed? Well, there's a few reasons, but one important reason that I believe it's occurred is because we're using social media and we're viewing social media through a distorted lens, and a lens that is distorted by ego, because most people, especially in the Western world, are very locked in and identified with their ego. And what I have mentioned in other videos, and we'll talk about a lot, is that our ego, when it's disconnected from spirit, becomes very prone to seeing itself as disconnected from everything, seeing itself as in competition with everything rather than seeing the wholeness of everything and seeing the bigger picture. And what I believe our ego is our name, our title, our beliefs, our name, our gender, all these things that allow us to move around and give us structure in this physical world. However, the ego is very much based on ambition and it's very much attached to what it's doing and who it is, and the ego is obsessed with getting attention, obsessed with being the focus, and obsessed with climbing on top of other people and being considered the best. And so when we go on social media, and if we're using it and we're looking at it through this distorted lens of being overly identified with the ego, then it's basically the ego using social media and a whole lot of egos interacting with each other on social media. Now, the thing with the ego also is that it loves to wear masks. It hates to reveal its authentic self to the world because it's afraid of being judged. It's afraid of being seen for who it truly is, with all of its fears and all of our insecurities and all these things that make us us, but we're afraid of and we feel shame about and we're afraid of being judged about. So we try to project this image of perfection to the world, and we do this in our everyday lives, and even when we meet people, rather than just being real, we put on these masks because we're trying to control their perception of us. And that's what the ego loves. The ego loves being in control. So social media to the ego is the ultimate form of control, because you have full control over your over the mask that you wear on there. If you want people to perceive your life as being freaking awesome and you as being the most bubbly, energetic, outgoing person in the world, then you can do that. But for a lot of people, that might not be the case. You might just be an average person. You maybe have times where you're energetic and bubbly. You have times when you're sad and depressed, and you may have times where you're angry and all these other things. And that's the nature of being human. I mean, I've met many people on social media that I've had this perception of because of their social media pages, and I've met them in real life and I've been like, holy fuck, you are so different to what you project on your social media page. And I don't mean they were different in a bad way, but it just kind of shocked me because it really revealed to me how much social media can control people's perceptions of us. And so what I feel it's become is this world of competing perceptions, of people trying to get everyone else to think that they're just living these mind-blowing lives and that they look amazing and that every moment in their life is amazing. And what it does, as I said before, it gets us caught in the trap of like, well, if that person's doing that, if that person's living this kind of life, then I'm not worthy unless I'm living that kind of life, and I'm not getting, because what I'm doing isn't getting the same likes, isn't getting the same comments and all this sort of stuff. And it's been shown to be also extremely addictive. I mean, Simon Sinek is one man on YouTube who has revealed a lot of research about how addictive social media is, especially to people in their teenage years. It can cause a lot of issues. And that's another reason why I believe it's crushing our spirit, because we do these things that aren't in alignment with our truth. We may post things and project this image of us that isn't truly us, and it's hard. It takes a lot of energy to wear these masks and try to constantly control people's perceptions of us and live up to this ridiculous standard we set for each other and set for ourselves. And so we get these likes and we get these validations and we get the notifications. We see it on when we open up the browser or the application, and we get a bit of a dopamine rush and we feel good, but then we crash back down. It's literally like taking a drug. Well, not literally, but it's very, very similar to taking a drug, because it releases the same chemicals in the brain. So then you start seeking for your next fix, and it gets so extreme what people will freaking do to get the attention and validation that they want. And the other thing that I see is a big problem that's also crushing our spirit is that social media is constantly taking us out of the present moment. And I really do believe, or what I've discovered or found in my life, and it's something I'm still working on, is that when we are in the present moment, when we anchor ourselves in the now, we start to be more attuned into the joy that comes with each so-called ordinary moment, and we don't need to be seeking peak experiences. We don't need to be seeking validation. We can just surrender to life and surrender into the body and be at peace with each moment as they come and allow life to come to us. Whereas social media constantly causes us to project out of the present moment and literally takes our consciousness out of the body and disembodies us, and we're constantly thinking about the post we did in the morning or yesterday and the post we're going to do, or people on Snapchat or Instagram, just every moment, rather than actually being present and enjoying the moment and taking it in and enjoying the people around you. They're thinking, how do I Snapchat this? Okay, this is a moment I should put on my story, and this moment, and we're constantly it's like we're living life through the lens of technology. And you see it when people are at lunch or dinner and they're all just like sitting on their phone. Like, it's seriously like the zombie apocalypse has hit now. And it's really tragic because there's so much beauty in each present moment. There's so much beauty in life, but we totally miss that if we're not actually present there to enjoy it. And I really do believe that it's actually designed this way. I mean, I think that the algorithms on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these things are designed so that only the most narcissistic, only the most attention-seeking posts seem to get the most validation and get the most likes. So it seems that when you share actual content of substance, that it doesn't seem to get much traction on social media, it doesn't seem to get much attention. So therefore the algorithms kind of shape what people do, because people want the attention, they want the validation. And if you share a post that might actually inform people about something around the world and it doesn't get likes, you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to do that again. And the reason I was so motivated to do this video, because I really believe that social media provides us with a massive opportunity, and the fact that it is being used to fuel this narcissistic culture and crush our spirit is so sad, because it could be being used for so much good. I mean, think about it, with so much chaos and around the world and so much fear in so many people's lives, we have an opportunity to connect with each other on deeper levels, to unify as a human race on levels never seen before, but we're using it to compete and compare. And one thing I also didn't mention is how much fighting goes on, like over topics, like people not actually tolerating each other just because of different views, whether it be diet or religion or opinions on various trigger topics. People get exactly that, they get extremely triggered and we begin fighting. But if we can put all that down and really see the opportunity here, it could be an amazing tool for us. But to do this, we also need to come back into the present moment. We have to look at the reasons why we need this attention, why we're constantly seeking it, and realize that it is very destructive if we're constantly allowing ourselves to be taken out of actually living life, of actually being present in life and seeing the magic all around us, because it'll end up with sad stories for a lot of people that you've spent most of your life in the digital world and not actually lived your life. I mean, that would be, you do that for a long enough time, and I think that would be a very sad place to be. So I hope this video helps plant a seed and helps inspire people to see the amazing opportunity there is on social media, and to begin being more authentic on it and connecting on deeper levels, and not to tolerate any narcissistic and ego-based behavior and intolerant behavior. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.